Okay. All right. Sorry for being late, you guys. It is 4:12. I ran into some technical difficulties trying to get my stinking what's it called? My web browser here to actually show properly. I don't want to show the ads right here. So I'm at .com. Great resource if you guys aren't familiar with it. Hermetic.com is the place to go for many multi ceremonial type magical texts. So good afternoon, good evening, good wherever it might be, wherever you might be. I am Rufus Opus. Today we're doing our show. I'm going to be talking a little bit about using magic for mysticism, specifically column 45 of Liber 777, which was put together by Aleister Crowley. I realized that a lot of the stuff I'm doing with the whole Zeus, the all-in-all kind of thing that I've got going on. You know, this Zeus thing that I'm doing is very much formulated around my training and experiences in ceremonial magic and what I think is going on with the world in general, with how it all works, and my whole understanding of the chain of manifestation is something that I picked up from ceremonial magic, right? I mean, a lot of it came from there, and then Robert Anton Wilson filled in the gaps and helped me understand it a lot better. And yeah, what with one thing and another, it's been refresh my chat stuff here. There we go. Okay, so if you wanted to chat, I can actually see it now. Okay, still not doing it right. Refresh that too. Yeah, sorry, I was at the beach up until about half an hour or so ago, and the dog was having a great time, but I totally, I might have been a little late getting back from there. So running by the seat of my pants, as it were, but it's fine, whatever. So yeah, the whole Zeus the all-in-all kind of thing that I present here with our teachings, or whatever it is that I've been working on with the Zeus cult. It is very much based on this tree of life process. This idea that the Golden Dawn instilled in us, that we go through this initiatory process to attain union with the deity, right? Let me go back to that page that I was sharing here earlier. Okay. So Liber 777 is a great book that explains sort of how ceremonial magicians see the universe, right? And this was my early training with occultism. When I wanted to learn how to throw fireballs, I went to, as one does, obviously, Walden Books at the mall. I don't even know if Walden Books is still around. I don't think so, but at the Walden Books Mall in the early 1990s, they had a section called New Age and Religion, and it was right next to the Bibles. And the New Age section had all the occult stuff in it. And the book that they had about magic that seemed like it was actually serious magic, that had grimoires mentioned in the title and stuff that I could actually understand, was by Donald Michael Craig. It was 11 Lessons in High Magic. And it was just an introduction to a really generic form of Golden Dawn ceremonial magic, right? And the ceremonial magic of the Golden Dawn is stuff that was put together out of the Magus by Barrett. And the Magus was a plagiarized version of part of Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy, almost word for word. Many of the sections are the same. There's additional information in it, if I remember right. It's been a while since I've looked at it, but basically I don't think they had Agrippa's manuscript at the time, and they were working off of the Magus when they put together the curriculum for the Golden Dawn. But eventually they got their hands on it, and they started incorporating more and more of Agrippa's stuff into the system. But I don't know, it is what it is, right? So anyway, when it comes to understanding what the point of magic is, I get on my little ramp, and my ramp is what I use magic for, and I tend to talk about magic as if the way I see it is the way everybody should see it, and that's not true. Okay, I use magic in a very specific way as an accent to my life. I used to say that I was completely devoted to magic, and magic was everything I wanted to do because it was cool, it was fun. I love talking to spirits. I still love talking to spirits, but it's just that's not all there is to life. You know, there's more to life than that. And when you go through the process of the great work, and you go up through the 10 spheres or of the Kabbalah, or the 7 spheres of the planetary system, and you reach this attainment of whatever it is, this union with God that they talk about in this system, the Golden Dawn system, you don't, I don't know how to put it, you don't really, I don't know, you tend to see magic in a different light. You know, it's just not as, it's not the same after you've been up the hill. You know, you're still, sorry, my hair is sticking out in a weird way and it's driving me nuts. Please ignore my hair. After, you know, that the whole before enlightenment you chop wood and carry water, and after enlightenment you chop wood and you carry water, and it's more meaningful somehow because you understand how everything works. It's like that, you know. And once you go through the 7 spheres and you do all the magic and you do the transformation and you do the healing and you do the initiations, or you build your life and you build your reputation and you build your whatnot, you know, you get to a point where you're in maintenance mode, right? And a lot of what you're doing is maintaining what you have. If you're creating new things, you have a creative process that you go through, or maybe you have a creative space where you let whatever process you're going to go through today manifest, right? You've got stuff in place for you to be able to do the things that you do in your life, right? Like, when you're first starting out, it's very important to you to learn how to consecrate things, because you ain't got shit. And when you ain't got shit, you got to start from nothing, and you got to start building your stuff, and then you have to know how to consecrate it, and you have to learn all this consecration stuff. So when you first start out in magic, you might think that magic is all about obtaining rare items and, hey Sebastian, how's it going? And getting things put together and consecrated and blessed, right? And learning how to create your magical tools was a major part of the Golden Dawn. You had to create your disc that represented the material world, your earth disc, and then you had to create your chalice according to special specifications, and your wand, and your what is it? The wand, the dagger, right? You had to make your dagger handle a certain way. If you look through the Goetia, the grimoires, and you have to create your tools in a certain time and follow all these special rules about putting your tools together. And if you look at all the instructions in the grimoire for conjuring spirits, or all the instructions in the initiatory process of the Golden Dawn, or all the instructions on how to create the tools that you work with for any of these systems, you think that magic is about making tools, and you think it's about timing things to get your tools, and it's all about creation of tools and constructing circles and knowing, and all this stuff is what it's for. And that's what magic is, right? Magic is tools. Magic is circles. Magic is wands, is talismans, and it's all that. You know, these are what the magic, that's the magic. And if you look on Facebook, at the occult community on Facebook, it's very much that. It's all about, what's the proper way to make these tools, and what's the proper way to do these things, you know. But you get into the witchcraft forums, and they're like, give me a spell for getting my cheating partner to suffer, you know. They aren't interested in learning how to make a wand and what to carve into it at what time. You know, that's not what magic is, right? Creating the tools isn't magic, right? In the different systems that we have, you know, there's different tools that you have to create in different systems. The creation of the tools themselves, like the Golden Dawn made the creation of the elemental weapons, each one was part of an initiation, right? You'd go through your whatever Zelator, and maybe, I don't remember what the elements corresponded with which of the initiatory grades, but you'd create a tool with each of your first 4 initiations. That was your elemental thing, and then after your first 4 initiations, you had your set that was ready to be used for your actual magic, right? But magic isn't tools. It's not It's not timing. Knowing timing is important. It's not tables of correspondences. The 777 that I'm going to be talking about here today, with all of its columns of correspondences, that's not magic. That's what you need to know to do magic, right? Grimoires aren't magical. They're what you need to study to do magic. But magic itself is creating this world. It's changing this world. Crowley dumbs it down to the point where anything you do is magic, right? Derek, you just said magic is everywhere. Magic is everywhere, right? Magic is in every culture. It's part of everything we do. If you look at Crowley's definition of magic, the art of creating change and conformity with your will, it's saying the universe changes according to what I desire. And if you look at Crowley's whole system, that's like saying the sun seems to rise in the east and seems to set in the west because humans have named the place where the sun seems to originate from our position on the planet east. It's just making a statement. It's not really defining the word. It's just describing things, and it's not a very useful definition of magic. Sometimes I define it, and sometimes I try not to, but basically, I think magic is any time that you separate yourself from your daily activities and then start doing something with the invisible world. Okay, all of these occult practices and teachings reveal something hidden. Occult means hidden, right? It reveals a hidden truth, a hidden mystery that lets you do what you want to do, your will, your desires, your esoteric pursuits, what you want to use the magic for. It lets you do the things because you know the secret knowledge. It lets you do the things that you would be doing normally. Like if you want to get $1 million, you'd go out and try to win a lottery or get $1 million contract or whatever. But if you're going to try to get $1 million with magic, you're going to use your esoteric knowledge, this hidden knowledge, to increase your chances to win $1 million, right? It used to be that you could conjure a spirit and ask it to reveal a treasure to you, and you would go out and look for the treasure, and you'd feel the spirit drawing you to a place where they hid treasure. And in Europe, they used to hide treasure all the time, because they would have diseases come through, or people would be fighting, or there'd be another war, or something would happen, and they'd have to leave town, and they'd plan on coming back for their treasure later. So they bury it because treasure is useless on the road. All it is cause trouble, right? If you're a refugee, you don't want to have any money. You want to be broke because otherwise you're going to get robbed, murdered for what you have, that you want to be poor and you want to have this stuff when you get back. So you'd bury it in the ground and you'd conjure spirits and you'd ask them to protect your treasure and you'd come back for it later. That's how they made sure. That was their security system back then. And many of the grimoire spirits for finding treasure are these guardian spirits. They're the spirits that you conjure to guard your treasure. You also conjure those spirits to discover and leave and stop guarding those treasures. So if you find a treasure, you conjure the spirits to say, "Be gone, O guardians," and then hopefully, if you have the right spell, they go away. So that was how magic used to be a way to get treasure. Here in 2024, it's not like we can just go out and start digging for treasure that was hidden in the ground because somebody thinks they own that crap, right? You can't just go in their land and start digging, even if you have a strong feeling from the spirits that you conjured that your stuff is right there. It's it's just waiting for you. So what tends to happen, because things are different now, is when you conjure these treasure-finding spirits, people report that they get opportunities to obtain money. Like me personally, if I conjure a spirit for treasure, I might get a job opportunity to make a higher hourly rate than what I'm making right now. Back when I was working for a living. Investing in mining would be a modern analogy. That would be investing in mining, right? But finding a treasure spirit to point you to the right mine to invest in, for example, right? Like you conjure spirit. The hidden spirits, these hidden forces, are supposed to give us an edge over other people, right? I mean, back in the day, you could just wander through the woods looking for treasure and hopefully notice something that would be where you'd happen to find it, right? But the spirits would increase your chances of finding what you're looking for. And that's what these esoteric abilities that magic is supposed to give you, that's what they do. They increase your chances of succeeding at a normal thing. So this whole occult thing, magic, the thing that magic does is it makes life better. You know, my whole motto is life is hard and magic helps. It's an assistant, you know. So it's not a vocation. I have sold a lot of magical services over the years. I sell a lot of magical stuff. You know, I make money off of occultism, but what I make the money on is my knowledge and understanding of how to use it to change my life. Right? And the reason I think I have something to say about it that's valuable and worth money is because my life is great. You know, I have problems. I'm not perfect. I think I've accomplished the great work and I can make things happen and great, but I'm not beyond Ananda, you know, I'm not enlightened. I'm not Buddha. I'm not perfect. I just understand how all this stuff works. It's not based on the books anyway. I know what the books say it's supposed to work like. And I know what my experience has showed me, how it actually works, you know, and that's all useful, I think. And I charge for that because I think that that's worth money, because I mean, I would have paid to learn this stuff from somebody who already knew what I know. It would have saved me a lot of time, you know. And if you don't think it's worth it, don't buy it. Sure, whatever. But I have classes, you know. Go to my site, rufusopus.com, buy my stuff. But that's not magic, you know. I'm not selling magic for people. I've done magic for money for people. I tell them right up front, I don't know if it's going to work. You know, I do readings on it before I do the magic, but the readings tell me whether or not a spell would help, right? So, and then I do the magic, which is conjuring a spirit and asking the spirit to change their life in a way that they want it to manifest. I ask the spirits to do that, but I'm not in their life, okay? It works for me when I do the magic because I've done so much magic that I know what to look for. I see an opportunity, I'm like, that's from Mercury. I see an opportunity, I'm like, that one over there, that's my Venus right coming into play. I get called to see my boss next week. I know that my reputational spells are working, you know, because I'm about to get another raise or another recognition for a job well done, you know. But I'm also doing I'm doing the job well in the first place to get the recognition. You know, I'm working my ass off. I'm not just doing my job. I'm doing my job and magic to get the recognition for it, to get the credit for it, so that other people don't take the credit, because they will. You know, I'm protecting what I'm doing. I'm making what I do better. I'm turning up the volume on the things that I do in the astral world so people see me more and give me more money. Right? That's because I do the things during the day for money so that I can go and do things at night for fun, you know, or whenever I'm not working. It's making your life better, you know. So anyway, the point is that magic is not it's not knowing things. Magic isn't what you know. It's what you do with what you know, right? The magic itself is when you put it together and make your spell, right? And your spell is when you conjure a spirit and tell it what you want, and you give it something that it likes, and you hope that it works out, and you tell it to go do it. And if it doesn't work, you try again. That's the magic. That's doing magic. All this crap that we're talking about is just ways to make it better, make it more likely to work. But that's magic. Conjure spirit, tell it what to do, give it X, Y, or Z, wait. Look for opportunities. Look for it doing what what you said it would do. That's magic. That's all magic is ever going to be, you know. Initiations may or may not help you. Okay, it helps a lot of people, it helps me. may or may not help you. 7 spheres, great system of chain of manifestation. I'm going to get back to this whole, that over there. We'll get back to that in a second. But that whole process of manifestation, it's just a model. It's only a model, right? It's not real. It's just a way of understanding things. Because, and it makes sense, it's got explanatory force. But we know that that's, there's quarks and muons and there's all kinds of things going on at the quantum level that are not on these 32 rows of the however many columns that Aleister Crowley put together in 777. Okay, this occult wisdom that we're studying it's not real. Okay, Agrippa teaches that the leopards, the spots on the leopard will change places because it reflects something magical, an occult property. And you know what? They don't do that. They grow back in the same patterns because it's genetic. We know that that's not true. Agrippa says that the lion is afraid of the cock, the rooster, because it is a solar and it must bow down. It's bullshit. A lion might be afraid of a rooster because it didn't expect it to be there, but if it's mad, it's going to eat the rooster. Okay? It's just, it's not afraid of the rooster because it has some solar power over it. Okay? There's the people who taught these things they didn't understand how things work. So what is the value of all this stuff? Why is it useful? Because somehow, when you do these crazy ass things that don't seem to have any correspondence in the real world to any particular particles or waves or whatever, somehow the words that you speak when you have all these things aligned properly in the proper harmonies that are defined in these ancient, wrong, scientifically inaccurate grimoires, somehow when you say things and you've done all the juju, what you say comes into being. And people have found that to happen consistently. It improves the chances of getting what they want. So people keep doing this stuff. So why does it work? I think, in my opinion, it works because we expect it to. Our intention, it is the intention of the magician that determines what spirit we get, according to Agrippa. The intention of the magician. But I don't mean like if you think real hard about things, everything's going to go your way. No, it's not that easy. It has to be complicated. It has to be arcane. There has to be some actual spirits on the other side that are going to fill those roles that we create for them with our belief systems. There has to be something over there that's going to actually correspond to it. And there has to be some way for it to all make sense. There has to be something to tick and tie it together. The Dervani manuscript is there to say, it's all one thing, and here's something to tick it all together. It's not just Josh sitting there on mushrooms going, oh, I feel like I'm part of this rock. What if we're all the same thing? It's not just Josh on mushrooms. It's Plato on mushrooms and Socrates on mushrooms. We've all had this trip the whole time. It's an ongoing experience that is consistently verified across time. So that's why this esoteric stuff helps. And it's not... if you read the histories, the people in the mystery traditions, everybody was in the mystery traditions, right? But people made fun of it. It was mocked across history. The contemporary people, nobody really believes in this stuff in most of society. It's the fringies, the weirdos that use this to our advantage. People who are called to it, people who are not listening to the dictates of reality that other people are listening to. The majority are listening to. We are, or we used to be, more of a select group. Yeah, but something about us is able to work with whatever this mystery is that seems to make what we say happen when we have our correspondences lined up right. So that's why we keep studying it. That's why I keep studying. That's why I have these silly shows about magic and occultism, because this weird way of doing things has changed my life. It's made things better without having any scientific proof to it whatsoever. Whatever. So I use magic to improve my life. And when I focus on the great work, it's because the great work is, in my opinion, the 16th century version of self-help. Okay? It's about purifying things and having a better life as a result. Purifying things, getting rid of the crap that makes you sad, and having a positive experience afterwards as a result. And you go through these processes and these transformations to become someone better, healthier. I have problems. I have mental illness problems, right? I have emotional anxiety. I have all kinds of things going on in my life that are not fun to experience. I was an alcoholic for years. I own it. I've claimed it. I'm in recovery. I haven't drank in years and years, but I was an alcoholic because my brain spins and spins and spins so fucking fast that I was drinking well over half a fifth, almost a fifth a day, to keep things muted. And I was thinking the other day about how much alcohol I was consuming to slow myself down enough to be okay with the way things were going in my life. And the reason I was drinking that much was because if I engaged my full brain, first of all, it gets out of control really fast if I'm not careful. But even within proper guidelines, my full brain would have been like, this is all bullshit. Okay, that's my problem with society. That's why when I'm off my meds, I'm a danger to myself and others because the world is bullshit. And I know it. Society is crap. Okay, the whole idea that money is real, money isn't real. We all know that. It's an idea. Okay, that's why interest happens and inflation and all these things. It's just ideas, right? We know it's bullshit, right? Bullshit. That's not how it works, right? But everybody does it anyway. And you're just like, this is so stupid. If it weren't for the occult stuff that I study, I would be in trouble. And the rest of the world might be in trouble too. But the occult studies have given me a way to work on myself, my self-help, my work with my therapy and my meds and whatever, to overcome the problems in my life that stopped me from having a good time. Okay, and now all the problems that I had in my life that were stopping me from having a good time were me, because my brain spins and I see through all the shit and I get mad about it and I don't think it's fair and I won't put up with it. I'm too good for that. To put up with it, to play the game, to get the money, to get out of the game. I wouldn't do that for years and years. The last few years, since I sobered up and I realized what was going on, I've started using magic and therapy and medication to put things back into where I want it to go. Like direct these things. Believe that this transformation is possible. They talk about in alchemy, that my shit self can be transformed into something good. Okay, these crazy spinning thoughts, right? When they're not focused, it's going to destroy your life. But with magic, we can focus them on a goal, and we can use occultism to work with our mental illness and direct those forces to something higher. If you look at the Chariot card, it's got the four, and the Thoth deck, it has the four sphinxes chained to it. That's your mental illness being chained and drawn your chariot forward. Is that true? Is that really what it is? No, not really. No, that's not what the chariot is. But that's something meaningful to me that I can get out of occultism. So when I talk about how magic is about the great work and the transformation of the self and ascending through the spheres to attain unity with the Godhead, that's a thing that you can do with magic. But really, magic is just conjuring spirits and asking them to do things for you. That's all magic really is. The great work, though, is the transformation, the healing of the things that are wrong. Because I don't think that just knowing how to do magic is, number one, it's not hard. You go to the magic of Trithemius. You can conjure all the archangels of the planets in one day, right? It's not hard. There are simple systems to do this. What's hard about magic is figuring out what to use it for that's not going to hurt you anymore. And magic can help with that. So once you get yourself set up, once you have your income good, your emotional state good, and your basics of life, of your Maslow's pyramid taken care of, you want more out of life. And magic is there for you for that too. So The Golden Dawn used magic to as a path to transform the self and attain unity with the Godhead. And what does that mean? In my opinion, what that means is getting past all the crap that society, which was wrong and driving me crazy for so many years, getting past all the things they taught us about who we are, figuring out who we really are, figuring out what we really want, and then using magic to do that, rather than supporting their systems of pain, destruction, darkness, and falsehood. The darkness and the falsehood are all the things. Dark falsehoods are all the fates, the Irenes, the furies. What they actually spit out, the way they influence the world, is with dark falsehoods, right? And the dark falsehoods of society are the things that are the big distractions from the light, the lux, that light that is projected through the eye that is within you, that is observing your every moment. That light is how you can get the best out of your life, in my opinion. Is how life is created. The dark falsehoods are what distract you from that. And in my opinion, basically what happens is you end up an NPC. Okay, and what magic does for us is it makes us the main character in our life. Not just the main character, but like the writer of the narrative we're living. And we don't have full control over everything. I keep it at magic helps because you don't get to change every fucking thing. I've tried, and it didn't work yet, But yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, guys. I'm checking the comments, but yeah. The drinking, as other people, Cody says he's drank for similar reasons, and Sebastian's like the same for me with weed, for calm down my brain. I'm constantly smoking weed or taking part of that because I am very much a hashishist, right? And I'm all into the Illuminism and the Robert Anton Wilson's illuminated approach to existence. I think is great, and I believe that pot gives you it changes your perspective, and regular use of pot makes you a different kind of person than someone who doesn't use pot or only uses it occasionally. It changes the way you see things, and it's an altered state, and you get used to it. You get used to being high all the time, and you don't feel high anymore until you take a break, and you take a tolerance break, and then you get high again. You're like, oh my God, it's great. So what's going on, right? You're changing your consciousness when you do this all the time, and you get to see the world differently. And a lot of my magic and the way I see the world, the reason it's so effective is because I am stoned all the time, right? It does help. It adds a layer of, what's the word? You know how you forget everything? There's just it adds a layer of, probability or improbability to everything. It just, everything isn't quite as solidly real, or for sure set in stone, because you don't really remember what you were doing before, and it could be anything. And one of the things that we know is that our memories are shit, right? We can't remember shit. And people use eyewitness testimony as in courts, but we know that eyewitnesses can't remember shit. And it's a terrible form of testimony, and yet courts still accept it, right? Even though we know that humans can't remember things accurately. We see things, we think we know what happened, and we don't know what happened. When you have a constant, when you're stoned all the time, it's not getting all the way into your memory banks, right? What happened? You have a vague idea of what happened, but there's a lot of plasticity to what you're experiencing, and in that plasticity, it seems to me that magic is more able to mold and influence our experiences, because there is that level of plasticity. It makes you smell like a damn beatnik. It's the patchouli. It's for sandal fun. The archangel of the world. Anyway, so anyway, that being said, magic is not all about self-help and transformation. Magic is about conjuring spirits and getting things to happen. But I use it primarily these days for self-help and also getting rich and influencing people and changing the world according to what I want. But a lot of it was self-help because I had so many problems. And it was because I had so many problems that I used it for self-help. And now, because it worked out so well for me, I tell everybody about it. And I'm like, if you have the problems I have, let me tell you how to purify that so that your self-destructive tendencies are reformed and rechanneled into actually attaining things. And the way I do that is by using this system of the Golden Dawn that says that you ascend through the spheres and you attain unity with deity, and then you descend through the spheres according to the Emerald Tablet and create your world in power. That's how I overcame or turned my self-destructive tendencies into kind of chaotic but still mostly positive creative forces in my life, and it's paying off. And I have just enough structure and organization around it to be able to make a profit off of it. And people who are better at organizing their mind and their actions and getting that stuff together, I'm not great at that. But if you're better at that than me, these principles will change your life if you use these things. But anyway, so back to column 45. The reason I've been talking about all this stuff is because if you look at these magical powers of the spheres and the paths. So just I should have this in another window. Let me see. Okay, another one, and go back here, and this, and let's see. And sorry about this, you guys. Like I said, I was at the beach. I was not really I was not ready to come home when I came home. Okay, this doesn't even have the Tree of Life in it that I wanted to show you. Oh, doggone it. Anyway, I don't have it all set up. Oops. Okay. So, what is this? XLV. Okay. The magical powers, this column 45, lists the magical powers that are associated with the 10 spheres and the 22 paths that connect them on the Tree of Life. I have a picture of the Tree of Life somewhere, but I didn't get it set up in time. So, apologies for that, but it is what it is, right? So, let me see, do I have, no, I don't, oops, don't want to show that. Okay, anyway, yeah, I'm not going to try to pull it up. But anyway, 0 through 10 here, these are the spheres, or I'm sorry, 1 through 10 are the spheres. 0 is the one above the spheres. Oh, you know what? If you look above my head, there. All right, so that's based on the Tree of Life. And if you look sort of at his head up there, anyway, the 10 spheres, the 10 circles are 1 through 10. 0 is the source, the light that is beyond all of that. And then 11 through 32 and 32 bis are the paths that connect them, right? So it's 10 spheres and 22 paths. The idea is that you start at the bottom and you work your way up and you attain unity with the Godhead. So in the 10th, this column shows the magical powers or Western mysticism that are associated with these spheres. So as you go through these initiations into the spheres and you're following this path of transformation of the self and the self-help kind of thing and the self-empowerment kind of thing that I teach in my videos here, you start at the bottom in the Golden Dawn system and work your way up. And as you go through these initiations, you receive these visions, right? And that's sort of how you can tell that you have successfully begun or accomplished your initiations. Last week we had 777 on, or Friday, I guess it was. Friday we had 777 on. 777, Sage D'Amour. He's actually becoming a pretty good friend. But he and I were talking about this, and one of the things we talked about was how when we do initiations, at least for me in the 7 spheres, I conjure the archangel and I ask for an initiation for the planetary spheres, right? And so how do I know it's working? How can you tell it's working? So like when I was doing my initiation into the moon, I think I started in the moon. I think that's where it was when I actually got myself going. That's the sphere of it's the number 9 here on our list, the vision of the machinery of the universe, right? So when I did my initiation into the moon, which is Yesod, which is line 9 in the 777, one of the things that made me realize that it was working was that I was doing my meditation one night, and I was like, I don't know what's going on, and it was Monday, and I had asked Gabriel for an initiation into the moon, and I felt like it should be doing something. Mostly, I'll be honest, I wanted to talk about it on the internet. And I had talked about doing the initiation, and I wanted to give a progress report, and I couldn't because I didn't know what was going on. So I conjured the angel, and so I asked him what was going on, and I'm doing scrying, right? And this was probably 2009-ish, 2006 maybe, 2008, somewhere in there. It's somewhere between 2006 and 2009. And I'm conjuring the spirit, and I'm asking what's going on. And I suck at that scrying. I think this was before the Den translation had even come out of the Abramelin. And all of my, like we have so many good resources today, you know, of the Greek magical papyri, of the Hecateon stuff, the whole stuff that Jason Miller has brought to the occult scene. It's impossible really to appreciate how different things are today than they were, you know, in 2006. But there were not guides on how to scry the way there are today. The number one question I still get to this day is how do I know what the spirits are saying, you know? And it's, you gotta sense it, right? So anyway, I'm conjuring the spirit, and immediately, and I'm just trying to meditate. So the way I was doing it back then is I'd picture a flame, and I'd picture all my thoughts going into the flame until it was just the flame, me and the flame, me looking at the flame. And anytime my thoughts would come up, I'd just let them fall back into the flame. No mind, no mind, no mind. And then I would try to hold that and hope that the spirits would just show up and say something to me, you know, and usually they didn't. Usually what happened was I'd get a dream instead. But this time when I'm doing it, all of a sudden, like I've got the candle in my mind, and it starts to flicker away, and I start to put the image that I'm getting in my mind back into the flame, and it wouldn't move. It was just like, you know, like I started to whoosh back into the flame. And I'm really good at this point. I've been doing it for years, you know. So I'm like whooshing it down into the flame, and it was like, and everything stopped, you know. And then it was almost like the angel was like, stop doing that so I can talk to you. And it was like pop, 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 right? And then all of a sudden it all popped back into place, and this picture in my mind started moving, and what I saw was this unfolding mechanical nature of the universe. It was just unfolding in my mind's eye. And what that meant for me was I had the vision of basically, if you want to call it the lightning flash of the tree of life, it was like that, but it was like this sinuous flow of ideas down through the seven spheres, and then it got turned to the four kings, and then they manifested it through their legions, and you could see in the blowing of the leaves, the actual wind spirits and moving the earth spirits that had combined with fire and water to temporarily house the spirit of leaf. You know, you could see all of that happening at once in this grand flow of very mechanical things. Tick tock, tick tock. It was the watchmaker's universe, right? Idea, slot, like Plinko, only it was like through a predetermined path to create this thing in the earth. That's one way to look at it. And it's the way you look at it when you've received your initiation into the sphere of Yesod. And we know this because here on line 9, the vision of the machinery of the universe. That's what I received. That's how you can tell when you're succeeding in these things. You start to have experiences that are consistent with the records of whatever system you're working with. And it doesn't have to be this system. It could be like if you're going through an initiation into your relationship with Hecate, or necromancy. If you're trying to get better at necromancy, which by the way is path 24, right? I don't remember which one 24 is, but anyway, path 24 is the path that has necromancy on it. But anyway, if you're trying to learn necromancy, you get initiated by Hecate or Hermes Chthonios. The way you're going to know that it's working is you're going to have a vision that is explaining how the process manifests for magicians, right? So how to approach the deity, how to explain which of the dead you want to get, or which type of dead you're looking for, depending on if you're looking for someone specific, or if you're looking for a good familiar type spirit temporarily, or if you're looking for someone that is just lost and can't do anything anyway, somebody that has nothing to do for all eternity, and so you put them in a pot or something. What are you working here for? And you get this vision of how to come to the crossroads with the proper preparations made, so that when you approach properly, you create the vibe that creates the harmony that results in the manifestation of the necromantic result that you're looking for, right? And you understand this in a way that's hard to explain. And you might find a book that teaches you, or you hear a witch talking about how she did it, or you have a dream where you see it happening, or you're having this meditation where you're trying to make your visions from your mind's eye disappear, and it stops, it won't disappear. Something happens where you pick up on these things, but you receive these visions. You receive something that affirms and confirms your experience that you've gotten. And when you're done with that, you walk away being able to do things differently because you've received and incorporated that initiation, right? After I understood the mechanical nature of the universe, because I had asked for a lunar initiation, and my experience in the 11 Lessons of High Magic and Golden Dawn by Rigardier, and Aleister Crowley's book 4 that I'd read through, and all the stuff that I'd studied, when I asked for my initiation into the sphere of the moon, I automatically went to Yesod and I received the vision of the mechanical nature of the universe. It has fueled my future work, right? Everything I've done since then has been learning how to integrate my role in relationship to those 7 spheres and those 4 kings and the elements and the experiences that I get as a result of trying to push my ideas down the throats of the intelligences and make it happen the way I want it to. So anyway, that's what column 45 is about, right? And if you look at it, the 10 spheres are basically it's the seven planets. Starting at number 9 is the moon, and number 3 is Saturn. So 0 is the pleroma, or the infinite source, or Zeus the all in all. Zeus the head is sort of 0. 1 is Kether, right? Kether is union with God. That's the magical power of that particular sphere. Anyway, I think I want to start with number. I don't know how I want to go through this yet, but I want to do a series of shows on these things to kind of talk about what the magical powers are, because it's easy for me to say that magic is about the great work, because it's my problems. That's been my experience that's been most useful. I'm able to be financially successful now in my life because I'm over my mental illness, right? I'm not over it, but I've learned coping mechanisms and strategies to divert the purified forms of that craziness into creative things. But it's all of these powers are part of the things that I do as a magician, and I don't know. I just want to talk about sort of where it all fits together and why. What you can expect as you go through these as you go through these initiations and your experiences therein. It is 5 o'clock now. I'm going to wrap it up now. Next week, I guess we're probably going to start on the vision of the Holy Guardian Angel, or of Adonai. But that's kind of how it all works, in my opinion, when it comes to magic and the great work and this whole path of unity and attainment and progression through the spheres, or progression through the process of reclaiming your creatorship, your godhead, your whatever divinity you might happen to be representing here on the earth, your authority and your agency, as it was. So anyway, have a good one. Have a great weekend. I hope you guys